The secret science of mantra chanting. There is a certain tribe in Africa that is very famous because the happiness quotient of its people is unusually high. In that community, whenever a woman discovers she is pregnant, she is assigned a certain tree. The woman then picks out a song or lullaby of her choice for her unborn child, and what follows over the next decade is quite remarkable. That tree is her happy tree, and the song she chooses is her happiness song. Throughout her pregnancy, she sits by that tree and sings that song to the child growing up in her womb. While bathing, sitting, standing, cooking, and going to bed, she repeats the song softly. When she is finally undergoing labor pains, the same song is sung to her by other women in her tribe. The birth of the child into the world is yet again celebrated with that song. Soon the mother will be humming the same song as she nurses and puts the baby to sleep. During every festival, every celebration, every joyous occasion, that song becomes the song of the child. Gradually, the child associates that song with every happy incident in his life. After all, so many happy memories from long before he was born spring from that song. And this is where things get interesting. Now, whenever the child, who may be a young man by now, is depressed or faces challenges in life, he just sings his song. The sound of that song evokes positivity and strength because that is his happy song. Subconsciously, his mind swells with beautiful memories and a lot of happiness because this song was uttered during countless happy moments from the beginning of his life. The song is now inseparable from him. This is mantra sadhana. In a nutshell, says Om Swami, a great practitioner of mantra yoga, in his insightful book, The Ancient Science of Mantras. Sadhana is dedicated practice. The basic principle of mantra sadhana is to practice the utterance of a sound with such intensity, fervor, and determination that your whole being starts to reverberate with that sound. You become that sound. It becomes your sound, your mantra. The one you not only connect with, but that transports you to another dimension of consciousness. What are mantras? Mantras in Eastern Vedic tradition are the cryptic verses that millions of people chant every day as a ritualistic practice. They are often mysterious and enigmatic. People generally chant these hymns without understanding their meaning. But that is really insignificant, because the truth is, the power of mantras lies not in their meaning, but in their sound. It is a very act of chanting that bestows power on these sacred hymns. Mantra literally means an utterance. It is a sound or a syllable. According to Sadhguru, one of the most renowned modern-day practitioners of mantra yoga, mantras are impulses or rhythms of the consciousness. They create vibrations in the spirit. Their effects, influence, method, and mode of working are all a mystery. Modern science too sees the whole of existence as reverberations of energy at different levels of vibrations. If there are vibrations, there are sounds. That would mean that the whole existence could be understood in terms of sound too. Vedic science looks at the universe and human existence as a big amalgamation of various levels of sounds or mantras. Among these multiple sounds, some are identified as the key sounds. If you can identify them and master them and absorb them into your daily life, they will become your keys to opening up a higher level of consciousness within you. This is the rationale behind the secret science of mantra yoga. Origin of mantras. Mantras originated with the great ancient teachings of India called Vedas. The Rig Veda, the oldest and the most central Vedic text, contains most of the mantras. According to David Frawley, the great scholar in Vedic literature, the Rig Veda is the fountainhead of Vedic science, the ancient spiritual science of the Himalayas from which such systems as yoga, Vedic astrology, Jyotish, and Ayurveda, traditional Indian medicine, arose. It is the basis of the Sanskrit language and culture. It is also the oldest book in any Indo-European language. There is a general recognition that the mantric or sound power of the Vedic chants in the Sanskrit language is the most sacred and mysterious power that human language has ever achieved. According to the Vedic tradition, the mantras have their origin in Lord Shiva himself. Om Swami recounts a story about it in his book. Out of compassion for all living beings across the universes, Bholenath, that is Lord Shiva, merrily raised his damru or drum and began playing it. As he danced to its heady rhythm, millions of sounds spread in the sky like stars in space. Every time the string of the damru swooshed through the air, it created a sound. Many other sounds of different frequencies were produced when the beads at the end of the string would strike the damru heads. Shiva's moving hands and feet too created sounds. His swaying matted locks, the sound of Rudraksha beads around his wrist, the slithering cobra around his neck. Every movement gave birth to a sound, and each sound was a mantra representing the feminine, masculine, or neutral aspect of creation. From this kundala, or ear loops, originated the seed syllables of Kundalini. The sages of yore, meditating on Nirguna Brahma, the formless, were quick to perceive these sounds. This is why Shiva is regarded as the only creator of mantras in mantra yoga. All the sages are merely seers. They did not create or discover mantras, much less invent them. They only saw what was already there, and hence they are called drishta or seers. All of this took place 900 million light years away, at Shiva's original abode of Kailash. A few million years after the mantras had been seen, the sages of Shiva's abode traveled to earth following him. Some of those seers, most notably Kashyap, Vaishishta, Parashurama, Dattatreya, Atri, and Gautama, decided to stay back on earth to pass on the mantras to the flourishing but suffering race we know as humans today. The original seers intelligently captured the sounds into 14 categories, forming a code of 57 letters that came to be known as Maheshwara Sutra. And this formed the basis of the most ancient spoken language in the world, Sanskrit. Each letter belongs to one of the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and space. On the path of mantra yoga, when an aspirant selects a mantra or siddhi, ideally she should consider matching the element of the mantra with her own predominant element. This is called Kula Akula Vichar. This idea attests to the fact that the practice of mantras is a highly personal, spiritual ritual. The importance of the sounds emanating from Shiva's damru was not limited to the creation of the first language, but a lot more. The 14 categories gave birth to 14 essential tattvas, elements, in the whole of creation. They were the 5 core elements of Prithvi, earth, Jala, water, Tej, fire, Vayu, air, and Akash, ether. The 3 modes of material nature, Sattva, goodness, Rajas, passion, and Tamas, ignorance. The 4 aspects of mind, Chatursha, Antahkarna, Manasa, mind, Buddhi, intellect, Chitta, fluctuations of mind consciousness, and Ahamkar, ego. And the 2 fundamental and primal energies in the universe, masculine energy Shiva and feminine energy Shakti. Mantra yoga is about going to the source of all sounds, the first voice, the originator in a process that will connect its practitioner with the universe at a different level altogether. A level beyond comprehension to an average mind, says Om Swami. Vedas have called it Nad Brahman or Shabd Brahman, the highest, eternal, and only true reality of sound. How do mantras work? Mantras do not work by magic. They work by practice and concentration. A mantra is not something that you utter, it is something that you strive to become. If you aspire to open up the secret of existence, you have to become the key yourself. Becoming the mantra means you are becoming the key to the secret knowledge of the universe, says Sadhguru. The practicing of mantras is called mantra sadhana in mantra yoga. Like any other stream of science, the sonic science of mantras too can be examined, explored, practiced, and mastered. Mantra sadhana places great emphasis on adhering to the framework of mantra yoga. and that invariably entails faith in your God, Guru, mantra, lineage, and initiation. Science behind mantra chanting. Modern science has not repudiated the Vedic science behind mantras. Rather, the scientists say that the rhythmic chanting of certain sounds can create a neuro-linguistic field of influence. Mantras are energy-based sounds. When we chant a mantra, it creates a physical vibration, producing energy waves. The one who chants mantras in their proper rhythm and tone vibrates in tune with the force of the spiritual energy of the chant. Modern medical science is quite aware of the power of sound to aid hearing and recovery. Research has shown how music and musical training can transform the human brain. It is our common experience that some sounds fill us with sadness and depression, while some particular sounds can inject joy and elation in us. If that is the case, the sacred sound of mantras can definitely do miracles. In the ancient science of mantras, Om Swami tersely explains the science behind mantras. There are two types of energies, potential and kinetic. The Vedic science of mantras says the same thing, but takes it a step further. In mantra yoga, while kinetic energy is an aspect of potential energy, the movement in energy causes sound. When the sonic aspect of energy is harnessed and channelized, it becomes creative energy. This potent creative energy can be used to aid the creation, destruction, or sustenance of our world, dreams, goals, and desires. Sound or nad is kinetic energy. Sound cannot be static. All existence is simply an arrangement of silence and sound. The sound at different frequencies. Mantra yoga is built on this scientific principle of sound. Hence it is called nad yoga. The philosophy of the mantras. Mantra yoga may rightly be called the philosophy of sound. In mantra chanting, the sound is more important than the meaning. Meanings are made up in the mind, but sound connects with the form itself. The Vedic philosophy is based on the fundamental principle that the mystery of the world is beyond logical analysis, but is nonetheless comprehensible through intuition. Such intuitions beyond the rationale require a language beyond the meaningful. Mantras are captured in such a meta-language. It is a language without meaning. Its meaning is in its form, its sound. Relevance of mantras in today's world. Our daily lives in the contemporary world are completely defined and dictated by technology. One tragic irony in the development of information and communication technology is that we are fast becoming non-communicative with our fellow beings in any meaningful way. We rather become engrossed in a social media controlled and digitally stimulated world in which we are passive receivers of all these data, information, and all those still and moving images. This world is very well a posthuman world. We are past that age of technology where machines were necessary parts of our daily lives. We are now in an epoch where machines are literally an integral part of our physical lives. We cannot imagine spending a day without a mobile phone in our hand. Many philosophers of technology predict that we, as a race, are evolving slowly into machines. They call this epoch post-humanity. It is in this postmodern epoch that the ancient Vedic sciences of mantra make the most sense. In Sanskrit, it is said, Manantrete iti mantra. Mantra is that which saves us from repetitiveness, explains Bhanumati Narasimha while talking about the secrets of meditation mantras. In our present world of automated evolution and mechanical living, maybe mantras can show us a different path of life, a different kind of evolution to a higher level of consciousness. How mantras affect the mind. Chanting mantras have immediate and deep psychological impacts. It is because the sonic science of the mantras is linked with human psychology. As David Frawley points out, the Rig Veda contains in their mantras the same profound myths and archetypal images of man and nature that we explore today in psychology and anthropology. Bhanumati Narasimha uses an interesting analogy of a seed to talk about the psychic process involved in mantra chanting. The mantra is like a seed. Every seed has the potential to become a tree. Similarly, these sound vibrations contain all the possibilities of creation. Some mantras are in the seed form, called the bij mantras. Others are fully expressed, that is, the fruits of the mantras are also expressed in them, such as the Gayatri mantra. Every mantra is like a secret. When we keep a secret, it keeps our subconscious mind eternally alert. A seed, too, is hidden like a secret in the soil. We need to carefully preserve it and nurture it with water before it can sprout and grow into a plant and give fruits. Mantras, too, work in the same way. How to practice mantras? Mastering of the art of mantra chanting requires proper guidance, understanding of the process, and focused effort as a regular and long-term commitment. Hema Vijay advises us to follow these steps. 1. Learn from a guru. Since the essence of a mantra is sound and it is realized in its chanting or utterance, a guru can teach you how to pronounce a mantra in its perfect form. 2. Attain the right posture. The position and shape of the body are decisive while chanting the mantras. 3. Sit on a rug to conserve body energy. 4. Start chanting your mantra slowly and clearly, sticking to the exact pronunciation and emphasis. 5. Synchronize your chant with the rhythm of your breath. 6. Keep your eyes closed. 7. Breathe deep and slow. 8. Don't hold yourself rigid. Let your muscles relax. 9. Give it time. The effects of chanting are slow but sure to come. Effects of chanting on our daily life. Mantra sadhana is an effective antidote for most of the melodies of our mind. Chanting will purge our minds of restlessness and stress. Chanting mantras leads us to concentration and subsequent absorption into the very form of our mantra. It has a soothing and controlling effect on our minds. Daily practice of chanting also sharpens our observation, perception, and expression. This will in turn positively affect our communication with other people around us. When we are able to interact with other human beings with calmness, composure, and positivity, we are already living in a higher realm of life. Mantra, the power of repetition. A mantra is basically words. Every mantra is a kind of cryptic code, but sounds like an ordinary sentence. And if you utter it like a sentence, it carries no power. The mysterious power of mantra occurs when it is repeated again and again, when it is chanted in a particular way. What does that really mean? It means that words, when repeated, carry tremendous power. The power of mantras is not in their meaning, but in their repetitiveness. This idea is not specific to Eastern Vedic tradition. In fact, you can see the principle at work in almost all religions across cultures. The Christian liturgy uses litany as a powerful form of prayer. You repeat the names of Our Lady or any saint 100 times, and the rhythmic repetition sounds very much like a mantra chanting. In Buddhist traditions, they use a prayer wheel to repeat the names, prayers in a pattern, and it is the repetition, the cycle of occurrences, that carries the sacred power. Like Gerard Manley Hopkins explains in The Winhaver, a beautiful poem addressed to Christ, the fire that breaks from thee then, 1,000,000,000 times lovelier. The name becomes sacred and powerful like fire when repeated 1,000,000,000 times. Seamus Heaney, the Irish poet and the winner of the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1995, expressed the same idea when he first wrote in prose about his call as a poet. I would begin with the Greek word omphalos, meaning the navel, and hence the stone that marked the center of the world, and repeat it, omphalos, 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 until its blunt and failing music becomes the music of somebody pumping water at the pump outside our back door. Words, when repeated, carry miraculous power in poetry, as well as in our prayerful chanting. This is a valid justification in itself for anyone to turn to the sacred path of mantra chanting. Conclusion. All of us human beings have unanswered and unending questions in our hearts regarding our existence and this universe. Our deepest questions are beyond the grasp of logic and advances in science. Like Maharishi Yagnavalkya said, Parosh Priya Evahi Deva, Pratyaksha Devesh, or the gods love what is mysterious and dislike what is evident. The Vedic mantras deal with these mysteries of existence. Since mantras have their origin in Rig Veda, they are indeed our keys to unlocking these mysteries when human logic and human sciences fail us. At every age, these deep questions find new resonances. When we chant our own select mantras in our personalized and solitary space, the ancient wisdom of Vedas resonates in us, taking us to a realm beyond cognition. So, when you practice mantra yoga and try to become one with your mantra, you no longer remain the individual you. Instead, your being is elevated to a higher level of consciousness. You become your mantra.
Japita tvameva tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva tvameva